Hello Twitch, hello YouTube, this is Captain Nav and welcome to a new flight today. We are in Abu Dhabi in the UAE and today it's flight Etihad 206 from Abu Dhabi to Mumbai in India. So we're going to be flying on the 777-300ER. This is a real live flight from Abu Dhabi all the way to Mumbai, as I said. We'll get cracking with this flight. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes flight, so it's not too bad. It's a lovely day out there, just a few clouds around. I think the temperature was around 35 degrees, so it's a little bit hot, but quite good. Anyway, we'll jump in the flight deck. We are already boarding, which is good. So coming into the flight deck, we checked the technical log. There's no issues with the aircraft, so it's all good. We've done all our checks in the flight deck all the way around, all nice and set up the way it should. And first flow.
Okay, I will do the flow for you.
Hello. Hello. Welcome aboard. Hello.
I will do the exterior inspection for you, Captain.
Okay, so the colleague is gonna go and do the walk around. It's gonna go outside, check that the tires are inflated, and basically that there's no major problems outside with the aircraft components and fuselage and all that stuff. In the meantime, I'll jump into the FMC and start programming the FMC. So it's the 777-300ER, it's the correct engine rating, G90. The nav data is correct until today. So today's Wednesday, will change tomorrow, Thursday. So tomorrow there'll be an update on the ARAC, and the drag fuel flow is fine. Reference airport is Oscar Mike Alpha Alpha. And we'll take the GPS position and set it up. Then the route, I've worked on the route beforehand, and we'll just pick up here. Request. So the route 1 uplink is ready, which is good. So we can load it. Boardings, it sounds like the boarding is complete now, so they're just loading the containers outside, I think. So the flight number is the Etihad 206. That's alright, and the route, well, yeah, the aircraft is fairly realistic. Above all, the way the systems work. I mean, obviously, it's not the real thing, but it's quite close to it. The way it handles is a little bit different. It's not like 100% realistic, but it's fairly difficult. Even like the real kind of simulators we have for training are. The handling is not the same as well, so and these simulators cost like thousands of dollars. So imagine the difficulty to make like these desktop simulations as realistic as the real aircraft. But otherwise, yeah, it's good. The autopilots behave quite well. The systems are doing what they're supposed to do, more or less. So it's good. So, the flight plan is Canip, November 318 Laclou, Golf 216 to Muscat, Mike 303 to Keppel, November 881 to Ruski, Lima 301 to Nobat, Lima 505 to Bidix, and Mike 638 to Exolo. So that's all correct. We can activate and execute. Then we'll go to the Perfinet page. And on the perf init page, we'll look at the reserve on the flight plan was 9.3. So first of all, we need to accept, otherwise it's not gonna take any changes. 9.3 on the reserve, flight level 370. The cost index, I think, is 120. And we'll go on a cruise CG of 30%. Well, that's that. Then we go to departure arrival. We go from 31 left, and it's the Canik 2 kilo. I think the flight plan shows 31 right, but 31 right is further away, so I'm not gonna bother. Just go from 31 left. It's a shorter taxi, and we'll execute. Then we'll check the departure sequence on the FMC. All makes sense. We're going to the 431, then the 441, the 442, then to Emati, and after Emati we go to Canip above 11,000, which is in there. Initially it's 3,000, but there's no ATC, so I'll set already like 11,000 at least for the first restriction here above, and I'll fly the departure manually, so I don't want to be bothered by that. So we'll load the winds. Yeah, I can. Actually, today on this flight I've got failures enabled, so we'll see if something comes up. Sometimes nothing comes up, but today it's enabled. Last time I did a flight on the stream, and I enabled failures. I had a few leaks, so that was a little bit interesting. We had to shut down the leaking engine, so that was fun. Transition, okay, level we'll check later on. The total distance is 1113, and the flight plan says 1122, so that's fairly close. And ultimately we'll go up to the route. We'll do a route copy onto route 2 and come back to route 1. All the uplinks are downloaded, or uploaded should I say, and yeah, that's all good. The MSA, why is the MSA centered on here? It's based on the airport. The dispatcher has done 25 miles. Is he gonna close the doors, or do I have to do it? 13,000 is the transition, and we're gonna set it here as well. In the aircraft, it seems to recognize, according to the airports you use in the route page, and then obviously entering the departure, it recognizes the transition altitude. It seems to be in the navigation database here for some reason. That's something that they've not done. I don't know if maybe it's not possible to do it, but the transition altitude, it's always the default. So depending on which one you put in the default, then as you can see, I had 18,000 feet, which is the transition altitude in the States. So, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have this capability here as well. So anyway, it's not that vital. If you're interested to know a little bit about the initial setup, you can have a look at the tutorial on the YouTube channel with the cold and dark video. Basically, the way things are done is that there's what we call an area of responsibility in the flight deck, between the captain and the first officer, and the tasks are basically divided so that everybody like knows what they have to do. So it's quite a good system, kind of you know, you share the workload a little bit. The captain does a little bit less, but yeah, cool. So we'll actually we can do the first checklist. We are fueled up, we've got the seatbelt sign on. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested.
Flight instruments.
Heading set, altimeter set.
Parking brake set. Fuel control switches cut off. Pre-flight checklist complete.
Anyway, we'll do a quick brief. So before V1, I will, in case of any problems, I will call stop or go. If I call stop, I'll close the thrust levers, disengage the auto throttle, apply max reverse thrust, along with RTO braking or manual braking as required. We'll stop on the runway, try to put the nose of the aircraft into the wind if there's a fire, and then we'll set the parking brake, come on the PA, attention crew at stations, and then come back on the VHF1. We'll have a look at the ICAS, do any memory items, and if we need to get out, we've got a carriage which is sitting normally here. We can do the evacuation checklist. Otherwise, if the call is go, we'll continue straight ahead, 200 feet. We'll go on the autopilot. Obviously, we'll have raised the gear and maybe push the thrust levers forward in the meantime. 400 feet track select. There's no engine out procedure, so we'll go straight ahead. Track select. 1,000 feet. We'll accelerate, retract the flaps, and climb to MSA. Come back, or just continue over the sea and yeah, take it from there. Really. It's a very quick brief, and then taxi from here. Sorry, wrong view. Basically, we're gonna push to face this way, and then taxi somehow to runway 31 left here. Just whatever tickles our fancy today. There's no many restrictions really. There's no ATC, and the departure, it's all in the FMC. We check the routing and all the speed and altitude constraints, so that's all good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. 11,000 will be the initial altitude. 306 will still need to work on the performance, so we'll see. Jolly good. So, talking about performance, I will do that now. Uh, 208.7 was the zero fuel weight, gross rate of 236.4. That's correct. Then we'll go takeoff 2, and we'll put an assume, quite high assume because it's fairly light, 65. Maybe not 65 because we're already be 50. Yeah, 88 on the N1 is good. Takeoff flaps 5. It's a long runway. There's not really any obstacles. So CG is set. Engine out. Acceleration height is 1,000. Acceleration height would be 3,000. And thrust reduction 1,500. So basically, if there's an engine failure, the computer will ask the autopilot to start kind of bringing the nose down and accelerate for flap retraction at 1,000 feet above the ground. And the acceleration height there is the normal acceleration height. So in normal conditions, the aircraft will start lowering the nose once again and accelerate for flap retraction. So this will start at 3,000 feet, and the thrust reduction basically from the takeoff thrust setting we'll have, The auto throttles will reduce the thrust to climb speed at 1500 feet. So back to the previous page, we'll take the speeds 153, 157, 160. So we'll set 160, the V2 up here, in the speed window. LNAV, VNAV, track 306, 11,000 feet. So before start, checklist.
Before start, checklist. Flight set, door.
Closed and locked.
Hello, Captain. We are
Passenger
ready to
signs
call you back.
as required. MCP.
Set.
Takeoff speeds.
Set.
CDE pre-flight.
Complete.
Locking gear.
Trim.
Set.
Taxi and takeoff refit.
Complete.
Beacon on. Before start, checklist complete.
Departure check completed.
I was lying, the trim was not set.
Inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing.
Right, on time, I said 9:45, it's 9:44. Very good. Start right engine.
Starting engine number 2.
So with the auto start function, it's actually
Start valve open,
fairly
engine 2, enter.
easy. The first officer sets the start selector down to start, and then as soon as it starts turning on the N2, just bring the fuel in. It's not like the 737 where you have to wait 25%. You put the fuel in, and then the EC works out when everything
Fuel
needs
flow,
to take
engine
place.
2.
So that's quite cool. Still pushing straight. Hopefully it's gonna turn us in the right direction. Cool.
Starter cutout, engine 2.
Start the left engine. Start left engine.
Engaging starter, engine 1.
So I'll bring the fuel in once again.
Start valve open, engine 1, N2.
He's pushing in the right direction, which is good.
Fuel flow, engine 1.
Very nice pushback. Thank you, crew. Bang on the line. If you have any questions, guys, please let me know.
Starter cutout, engine
I'll do
1.
my best to answer them before taxi flow.
Okay. Recall ready for the checklist.
Set parking brakes.
Parking brakes set. We have 2 good starts. See you on the right with the pin. Thank you very much for your help. Bye bye. Obviously, ground services X doesn't really reply, but that's more or less what I would say to the ground crew. Just that we had 2 good starts, and then they can disconnect all the equipment, and we'll see them in this case on the right there. I'll come back towards
Unlocking gear.
towards the apron here to kind of wave us goodbye.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass main removed.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5 selected.
check the flight controls. I'll do it very quickly. On the aircraft you need to be a little bit more gentle, but here we can just do it very quickly. So he's that's the tow bar, the tug, and he should have the pin in his hands. Not sure where the dispatcher is. Yep, here's the engineer.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Flaps verified. I take it you know the runway in use.
Okay, so this guy is going away. He's waving. Bye bye then now. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice.
As required.
Recall.
Checked.
Auto brake. RTO. Flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Before taxi checklist complete.
Cool, let's go. Ready for taxi flow.
Sure. Ready.
Usually it's the captain who speaks to the crew for the push. That seems to be the general thing. And then we'll go across to 3-1 left. Runway entry flow.
Roger. Cabin crew prepare for take off.
It's clear on the right and on the left.
Approaching 3-1 left.
So I don't remember, as I said, getting the cabin ready, but
On runway 3-1 left.
take off. Knots. Hold.
V1. Rotate.
Gear up.
Gear coming up. Gear up and secured.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1 selected.
Flaps up.
Flaps coming up.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear up. Flaps up. After takeoff checklist complete.
It's just a little bit of practice flying manually. Yeah, I'll try flight level 200 actually. Set flight level 200.
Setting flight level 200.
Thank you so much. P3 are on. That seems to be working really well. 10,000 climbing flow.
Okay. Seat belt sign on auto.
Seatbelt sign auto.
Seat belt signs auto.
Right, here we go. That was quite good. Yeah, flight level 200 is working very well. That's good. Approaching transition altitude. Standard set 3 times. Hey, thank you very much for the follow, Stormy Flyer. Welcome to the stream. Oh, cool! It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix scenery, or livery, I think. So I did a bit of research and understand. You know, we were talking about this this little thing there that I've never seen in the aircraft I fly. It's a customized thing. It's an option, and yeah, I think it's the angle of attack, because that's the obviously the pitch attitude of the aircraft there, represented by the square, and the FPV shows the kind of at the moment the climb angle. So the difference between the pitch attitude and the climb angle at the moment is about, this one will be maybe 3 and this one will be 1, and the difference is 2. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's awesome, the blending of the scenery. Right, so on the other side as well, I've got just installed the scenery, so we'll see how it works out. I hope it's okay. We'll see. Stormy Flyer, yeah, I've got some sort of maybe not the checklist, because the checklist is the electronic checklist, and it's kind of set according to PMDG, so you can't really change that a lot. But the sequence of events, it's fully customized to the way I want it to be. So as you could see, basically when we start the flight, you kind of set up the overhead panel, or at least in the initial setup. So to put the ADIRU on, arm the emergency exit lights, and then check the recall, everything, and yeah. And then what I ask him to do is the pre-flight flow, so basically to set up the whole overhead panel the way it should be. And part of the MCP, so he'll set his flight director, for example, he'll set the auto brake to RTO, and basically also as far as possible set the center pedestal here. Yeah, things like that. Who calls for the arm and disarm doors? Basically, you kind of tell the crew, you know, to arm the doors and then to disarm the doors as well. So on departure, you'll tell them to arm the doors, which actually I think I didn't do. I think the doors are still manual actually, and on landing as well, just when you pull onto the stand, you will tell them to disarm the doors. It can be both actually. For the arming of the doors, it can be both. There's not really prescriptive that way. It's usually the guy who doesn't taxi who does it, but there's not really any set rules. So we're almost there. 360 for 370, 1 to go. And actually we're gonna give ourselves a little shortcut. Go direct to Mike Charlie Tango. There's no traffic, so why not? Go speed and VNAV path 370.